What's the matter?
Oh, that was DJ 06.
Oh.
DJ 06
Hey,
101.9, baby. I got them connects, Rex and effects connects. But anyway,
You're just silly.
we was told yesterday at our event yesterday, that y'all didn't come to, and we had the 25% discount for the military. People that were veterans in the military or people that were active in the military, and you people didn't show up. But the people who did come and supported what we did and took, a bunch of photos and love. We still had a good time. Even though
small crowd, but it was a good time.
Yeah, it was a small crowd, but you people didn't come out and support as usual, And we understand, you had family in town and, you wanted to cook out and you wanted to drink and, all of those things. You just wanted to party up and you already went to church to give God praise at church, so you didn't want to give God praise outside of church in a restaurant that was providing all-you-can-eat food. Shay, I haven't seen you yet, and you're in Concord, and for some reason I haven't seen you yet, but I saw you last year, Red Man and Method Man concert now, didn't I? How high, so high that I can kiss the sky, up high to the sky? Because I ain't going to hold you accountable because you were in Florence, because it was in Florence. But that Shayla hasn't come to an event yet, and she's right in Concord. And she's making big moves in Charlotte. She's,
I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you.
She don't know neither. But it's all good. But anyway, we was told yesterday
conversation
by one of our supporters at Conversation Piece. There you go. Look right there. Look.
Who's that? Who that?
Look who that is. Look.
Who that is?
You know who that is.
I know who that is.
He ready too. Look at him. Look. Enough said. The ultimate host. Oh, Lord.
The ultimate host?
Yeah, the ultimate host. But I'm not going to say anything because he cracks too many jokes. He's a comedian.
He tells us how poor we are.
Yeah, he tells us how we don't pay and all things. He charges us $10,000 for 20 minutes and all types of stuff, and we don't pay. Then I tried to.
It's a running joke.
Then next thing you know, a bra was up there speaking up for him, and the homie flipped on me. I'm like, oh.
No, but you know what? Listen, that was all personal stuff, and we try to keep it professional and support people doing good things.
I love that man. I love him. I give him a kiss.
You know what you
right now.
Can we get to our subject?
Okay, but anyway.
We're sure not getting to the subject. People got things to do.
There you go. But anyway, we got it. But there you go. There you go. But anyway, Trino Rachi.
Can we get to our subject?
Okay.
Oh my goodness.
I'm mad. I'm mad. But anyway,
here we go. People spend the 5 minutes thanking folks. Hey, you just came in. How you doing? Oh my goodness, it's my friend. Get to the subject.
Well, we was told to talk about our age difference to you people.
Stop saying you people. Yeah, basically the person is in a relationship or would like to be in a relationship, and they're feeling self-conscious about the age difference that they're in. And we just sat there and looked like, so what? What's the big deal? And she said, you guys should talk about it more, so people understand that there shouldn't be a deterrent when you're getting to know someone. Point blank, look for character. Look for maturity. Don't look for an age. I mean, that's the moral of it.
Yeah, but I'm immature and insecure, though.
That's how I met you.
Yeah, immature and insecure.
That's how I met you.
I'm still insecure because, you got that big butt and everything, You got that big butt and a smile, and you got that big booty, and you got them big boobalicious.
Oh, you think
you go out there in the streets and all types of stuff and turning heads, and you got that cute smile, and seems you want to look in everybody's faces, and, you just want to look and,
you're so silly.
They smile at these menses. These menses, and next thing you know, they're like, oh, that's Brandon, huh? Yeah, okay, he got something going on. They want to take it. What do you want with that young man? What she want with that young man, that little cub right there? What you gonna do then?
What am I going to do? I'm going to talk about your character. I'm going to talk about how we have been in sync for almost day one. I'm going to talk about, the things that we do have in common and the things that we can share, such as single, saved, and serious. I'm going to talk about those things.
Okay.
And that's what we were telling this person, to focus on what was great, Don't focus on this number, this arbitrary number, because whether the person is a minute older than you or a year older than you, guess what? You're still going to have to get to know them. You're still going to try to become one. And that's not something that's easy to do. So just because a person is your age or, they have that, older man, younger women, or older woman, younger man in our case, So she was asking, she says, so how many years is it between you guys?
11.
11 whole years.
I'm 40. She's 51. She'll be 52 before I'm 41.
That's why he insecure, because I still look. No, no. Go
I'm
ahead.
so insecure. You're a big booty. You got to understand. We was talking, and I used to like going to the, back in my day before I was saved by grace. Before I was saved by the Lord, I used to go to these strip clubs and stuff like that. And, we were talking about, she was talking about something about erotic poetry and things. And she was like, she would go out there and that way she'd go to an erotic poetry event. So that way when she comes home after she's listening to all you nasty people out there, she could come home and rip me apart and take off all my clothes.
Okay, wow.
But me as a Christian, I can't go to the strip club and, because you single, saved, and serious. You promote single, saved, and serious, and you out here in the strip club just to get the idea of, I can't even watch a porn just to get the idea of coming home to tell my cougar to pieces, tell my old woman, when I come home about my mama's age, to come home and tell you the pieces and bite your cheek.
I'm not nowhere near.
But anyway.
Are you finished? I'm not near his mother's age. Stop it. Stop it.
But,
yeah, we make these jokes. We do make these jokes.
But anyway, I get to that enough said. But anyway, yeah, enough said.
Your new name will be not so single anymore. And seductive. Well, you know what? Okay, wait. Marriage bed is undefiled.
I bite a booty now. You think I won't bite your booty?
Not on Facebook Live.
I don't care nothing about these people, what they got to say.
We get back to the
half
subject.
of them want to bite a booty.
Let's get back
but
to the
anyway,
subject.
yeah.
The subject is that you see how we interact. This has been us, most of the dating. Well, some of the dating. We used to argue a whole lot more. But we were becoming one. We were seeing good character traits. We were seeing really good things. And it came down to, you got to the point, well, I got there first. But I got to the point, I really wanted this person in my life. I didn't care how old he was. I don't care. It didn't matter if I only had him for a month or a year. I wanted this person. And it took him longer. But he finally got to the point, didn't you? You better say yes. You better say yes. That he wanted me in his life. And so the age became not a big thing. Now, I have history with this. My mom and dad were 22 years apart. Not 11, 22. And yes, he was the older man. But the age in which they met, she was 27 and he was 49. And you're thinking, well, you know how it goes. Oh, you're a young thing. He ain't going to be able to do, and he ain't going to be able to keep up with you, and da-da-da. First of all, my daddy looked pretty good for doggone 49. That's the first thing. Second of all, they went on to have 35 excellent years together, in which they had 3 children. The last one, I'm going there, sired when my father was 64 years old. Don't tell God that this person is not going to be what you need. Just ask God to bless you with what you need. If you're feeling attached to this person, I'm sure there were people in my mother's family that said, first of all, he ain't West Indian. Why are you even talking to him? Second of all, he's this little short dude, bald guy. What you even want with him? Third of all, he ain't got the house and the car and the lands and everything else. But they did that together. They built house, car, land. So by the time they passed away, 35 years later, and she went first, mind you, okay? She went first. We needed 6 lawyers for the estate. Okay, so don't sit there and preconceive in your mind, this person's too old, I'm not going to be able to blah, blah, blah. This person's too young, they're not going to be able to get you. If they're into you, they're going to get you because they're going to want to get you. They're going to want to share things with you. Okay, tell them the joke. Not so much because I'm clueless, which sometimes I am. But I've led a very kind of sheltered life. So half the time he'll be talking about music and I'll be like, huh? It happened last night. Tell him what happened last night.
Will McCrae came up. He likes to do karaoke when he's playing
we do our
saxophone. Gospel karaoke where they played Gnarls Barkley last night. Crazy. And Will had came up and gave Judy the microphone and said, sing crazy.
Sing crazy.
And she talking about, what, you trying to call me crazy?
No, I said, what? Who made me crazy?
Yeah, who made me crazy? And I'm like, what in the world? This the song. She ain't never heard Nuff Said. Cedrice, she's never heard the song Crazy.
I did. I recognized it when Regina sang it, but I was like, oh, I don't know the
words. But I'm
words
saying
to
that everybody even knows the instrumental. They said she didn't even recognize the instrumental when she got handed the microphone and sung Crazy. Now, I know this personally. She don't know no Dougie Fresh songs. Ooh. You know, I used to pick on her about the 80s
used to pick
music,
on me.
hip-hop,
He said, you old thing, you don't know nothing about hip-hop.
And don't know anything about old school hip-hop. Yeah. Well, a little something, but she, like, one time she heard the song one time in her life, and she don't know who wrote it, rapped it, or anything about 80s music. Period. I think it was Dougie Fresh and Slick Rick, I believe. The show.
Don't ask me now.
You ain't know nothing about that. Look at him. She ain't know nothing that was going on.
I'm telling you, I'm talking about very strict Christian upbringing. No music. I used to have to sneak. Listen, I'm going to tell you enough how bad this was. I used to have to sneak over to a friend's house to listen to a Bill Cosby record. Yeah. Do you think there was some rap coming up in there? Are you kidding me?
You had to sneak to listen to
Bill Cosby.
Jello pudding.
And what's his name? Richard Pryor.
Well, we understand him. He used to curse, but Bill Cosby.
Bill Cosby. You just have to go over to a friend's house. I'm going by just to see how they're doing, just so I could listen to a doggone comedy album. Serious. So no, I don't know anything about the music, but. He laughs, we get the joke. I laugh at the joke. It's funny. I don't know that. You know? It's more important, though, that the deeper things, the things about God, we share deeply.
Yeah, me and you. Yeah.
We share that deeply. That's our foundation, is Christ. And so the rest of it, the rest of that house that we build, as long as it's on that sure foundation, it's going to stand.
But you got some people that say, well, you know, because, you know, I love older women, and I'm going to tell you why. Let me get to that point first. I can't date, after dating somebody like two people that were 3 or 4 years older than me. One was a little, intact and down to earth, versus the other one. The last one, the 2-month period of time versus the year. Mm-hmm. The 2-month was a lot more mature, and they were the same age, but they were like in their 40s. I was 39. I wasn't even 38, 39ish, and they were like 4 or 5 years older than me. But you know, looking at the one that's 4 or 5 years older than me that I dated, you know, during the 2014 era, who, you know, helped me start Single Saving Series. You know, the mentality. A lot of women that are my age or at least a little bit more than me, their mentality is just struck. you're dealing with, besides the last one, but you're dealing with 45-year-olds who think like they're 25. Now, they might play it off in the corporate America or the degree type thing. I got so many degrees and, and things like that. I got a lot of degrees. I got a good corporate America job, making good money. I got a house and a car, but their mentality is just struck. Their spirit is struck. So, it took a little time. And when I met Judy, and I've dated older women in the past, but way before her, but, in their 50s when I was in their 20s, in my 20s. But my thing is, when I met you, we were on the same page. Mm-hmm. You didn't listen to this foolishness. You ain't listen to music. You were a computer nerd.
Yes, I'm a computer
nerd. Okay, so, you didn't look at this TV, reality television or television. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And, I don't listen to the radio. I don't think they believe me when I tell them that I don't listen to the radio or watch TV.
Well, because it's very rare that people do.
But I'm saying they don't believe me. They don't believe me.
People didn't believe me. They were like, "Oh, haven't you watched the latest?" And I'm not talking about just now with Scandal Empire. I'm talking way back. Judy was like, "Look, they trot out the same stories. The first season is probably the best season, and then the writing starts to go downhill."
I just want you to let them know, just in case I'm lying. That's all.
No, he doesn't. He doesn't want wrestling on Monday night.
That's all. I don't listen to no, and I don't barely watch that because I be working. Mm-hmm. I don't watch that, but all this TV and radio, I don't listen to it at all. So, I met you and you were on that same page. Mm-hmm. Versus somebody that's around my age that might go to church and might say glory to God, but on the weekends they turned up, trying to drink, and, they love me one day, and then next thing they want to kick me to the curb after one argument. Like after one argument or something like that, they'll kick me to the curb, and I'm crazy because they can't take something I said, which was an argument versus a non-fight. Does that make any sense?
Yes.
So the mentality... I'm not sure. You're not sure whether that makes sense? So the mentality of these women that are my age, or nearly around my age, we're not on the same page. We weren't on the same page, especially at that time.
You're just an old soul. That's what it is.
Yeah.
I mean, he's crazy. Don't get me wrong. He cuckoo, padooka. But underneath the veneer of craziness is a very old soul, very family, loyal. There were traits that, and women back me up, there were traits that I hadn't seen in a long time. My family, I'd rather die for my family. I'm going to be there for my kids, regardless of how I got into this situation. I'm going to be there for my kids. There were certain traits underneath the craziness that were very old-fashioned. And so that having a good dad, I had seen those traits in him. And I began to see those same traits.
We'll talk about it, because these people need to know, as crazy as Brandon Chuck Brown, he all up on social media.
Can I tell you something? He's an old soul. He's very... he has certain routine and habits. So it's not like you got to come home, ladies, and not know, ooh, do I come into a good man today, or is he going to be a pissed off man today, or is he going to be... There's not that emotional roller coaster. No, he's very, very stable. He just likes to have a good time. And he doesn't mind starting it off, which is cool. That's actually very cool to me. He's a people person. He likes to be around people. He likes to be around a party. Well, I do too, even though I'm a little bit more introverted. Most of my friends are very extroverted, very exciting people. So I'm always around those people. They're going to have a good time, and I'm going to have a good time. So he was a very old soul. I saw that in him. So the age suddenly almost didn't fit, because the traits I saw in you were like my dad. You know what I'm saying? Or like my brother, who's older than me. So I saw these traits. I want my traits, not in age. And that's what I was telling our friend yesterday. Look for the traits. Look for the things that communicate to you that you feel a bond with. So after a while, it becomes a joke. Like the music is a joke. It's not a serious thing. It's not a, what do they call it? Deal breaker.
It's a spirit.
Yeah, it's just, he'll talk about music. I won't get it. We'll laugh about it. It's not going to suddenly make or break our relationship.
Not this music today. Hell no.
Well, he doesn't even listen to that stuff anyway. And the funny thing is, because you like old classic, I actually do remember that.
I don't even listen to that like that no more.
No, man, no more.
I mean, if you look at like they talk about today's music, but even the greatest rappers didn't have, like, they had messages, but a lot of them were off, like something that would benefit today. Like I talked about it the other day. Now Rakim, you had to listen to him because he was a lyricist. But the way they talk about Jay-Z, the greatest rapper of all time, when LL made 20 plus albums and lasted in a 30-year career, and they talk about Rakim, Big Daddy Kane, and Jay-Z and Nas being the greatest rappers, like that ticks me off. So it's not as appealing. Like when you listen to my favorite rap group of all time is Houdini.
Oh, Houdini. Okay.
Houdini. And that ain't because Drew is my cousin, Grandmaster D is my family, but it's just because of the sound. My favorite rapper of all time could be, I could look at it if it ain't Nas, it's LL. And that's because LL lasted for a long period of time. And he blew out every rapper that came across him, any rapper that ever came across him. Way before Cannabis, he ended their career. Jay-Z never did that. Now, Jay-Z made fame, if you really look at it, after Nas. After Nas got him, he always had fame, but he really stepped his game extra after Nas came out with Ether, which killed him.
Why are we talking about this?
But I'm just saying the music. Okay.
The music.
But anyway, so basically, today's music is a turnoff. And the way people describe hip-hop to me is a turnoff. So I just erased all of that. I just erased the whole music thing. If it ain't Houdini, and that's, you know what I'm saying? So, and that's gone. But anyway, go ahead.
No, you can keep talking.
Because I'm just saying the passion.
Because you go off on a tangent on
but
that.
Yeah, I always go left. But the thing about it is, she don't listen to the music. She don't watch TV. If anything, she's on social media, which
that's another thing.
Exactly. Let's get on that. The majority of the corporate America, so many degrees, 4 or 5 years older than me, was telling my family members and stuff like that they dropped me because I was on social media too much. And God made it to where I got somebody
Yeah. And I mean, and we're on for serious things. We're not playing games. I was on there for years as a disability advocate, as support, as doing all of these things. So I know social media's power to change lives and to make a difference. So I wasn't on there saying, I'm playing a game. And then, did you see that wretched video of somebody getting beat up? No, don't come to my wall with that nonsense. Come to my wall with, outreach, faith, entrepreneurial pursuits. Come to my wall with something positive, and then I'm fine. And so, yeah, both of us are on there. So it's not like, oh, you're on there too much. Nah. I'd be like, did you see this? And when did you post that last night? And I didn't see that. And, I'll be like, tag me. So we literally use that as tools, and we see it as a tool.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's the thing that we can do together.
And the reason, and she understands why I'm on social media and the purpose of social media. So her mentality is a lot different and it's a lot different than women that's older than her. Because most of the women, well, I can't say most, but there are a lot of women out there that are 60 or 70 years old that y'all saying that wants that, what's her name? The girl that got her groove back or something. Stella got her groove back, trying to act like Stella got her groove back. But it's not that. It's just they've always had the same mentality, but it's just they're letting it out now. So you got 60-year-olds thinking like they're 30. And you got a lot of women out here that are so stuck in their ways and don't want to think outside of the box. That just wants to think one way, like a one-track mind. And so for somebody like me, it'll be so frustrating to be like, it'll go into depression to be around somebody like that on an everyday basis.
No, I'm sorry.
No, it would. It would be a major effect to deal with a guy like me because basically I don't think like the average person.
And then, you know what I want to tell people to do?
And I'm not a follower.
He's not a follower, no.
And most of y'all follow. Not some of you, a lot of you follow. But go ahead.
Now, I was also saying that I had wrote a piece the day after we got married, and it was called a little bit of circumstances. It was called, and basically I talked about all the parallels, all the things that had affected my life, that ended up being something that helped me understand you. And sometimes you have to look for that. If I looked at him and said, "Oh, what are the things you talk about?"
I'm a janitor.
He's a janitor. He lived with his mama. He ain't got a degree. When I met you, you were driving that beat-up Benz.
Yes, Lord.
And I would have rather, I said, look, get a piece of car
$20 a day for gas.
You know what I'm saying? Get something that works. Name, what did the name? And the doggone thing leaked and had all, remember?
Had all types of
has all sorts of problems, but you drive it because you got the name
work,
on it.
And the thing about it, I drove it. I had the Benz because I was going through a depression when basically me and Katera got separated, and she was doing she was driving the expensive car and had her own place and corporate America. And basically, somebody called me from Drive Time, and I know nothing about cars. So somebody called me from Drive Time talking about the interest rate went low on my car, and I could trade the car in. So me and Katera, we was at fighting, like not physical fighting, but just we were going back and forth with each other due to my hurt. So I was like, yeah, I'm going to get back at you. I can do the same thing you do, bro. So I went up there and I say, I either want a Benz, a Lexus, I said a Benz, a Lexus, or a BMW. Yeah, and I'm not walking out of this lot until I get one. So then next thing you know, they was like, okay, we got you. Yeah, we gonna fit you right in.
They got
and so I went up there, and I drove off. And I called Katera along with the kids, and I said, yeah, I got me a Benz now. What up? And she just started saying, you ain't got no Benz. You got a Benz truck. And she knew this fool, he can't afford a Benz truck. and sat there and got a Benz truck just to get back at me. So I'm like, okay, yeah, I got a Benz now. Shoot. So then I talked to Daddy, because I told Daddy, I said, Daddy, and we're not getting off the subject, I'm just telling you the reason.
Go ahead.
But I say, Daddy, come with me to go look at, I got a surprise for you. And I said, and we got into an argument about it because I was trying to surprise him. And he said, ain't no sense in getting a car when you almost through with your car. You almost through with the payments in your car.
You see what I'm saying?
So the next thing you know, I was like, man, whatever. And I went to go get the Benz. And that was the worst mistake I ever made in my life. $20 a day running out of gas. I fill up the gas tank, then I go from A to B, and I'm on empty again. So I learned my lesson. But anyway, to God be the glory. It's gone now.
No, I don't even remember what I was talking about. But I was just saying There was so many
The
things.
bins.
No, I
Yeah.
was talking about all the different things that should have been like, oh, just walk away from this person, or
Yeah.
deal
Mm-hmm.
breakers, along with the age. Oh my goodness, he's 11 years younger than me, but he ain't ready. Everybody's like, he ain't ready. Put him back on the oven. People
Yeah.
say a lot of things, but again, it was like when we sat down to talk about ideas. We would just talk forever. And then when we would say, okay, this is what I'm doing. And I'm like, well, let me see what you're doing. Because I was very excited about Single, Saved, and Serious. I mean, just instantly excited about it. I'm an entrepreneurial person. So you telling me I want to take this bigger, higher. I'm like, oh, yeah, I want to go for that ride. So, all of those things. The fact that you weren't a follower. Entrepreneurs can't be followers. They have to be leaders. They have to be iconic. They have to go places. They have to be able to do things that aren't in existence yet to bring their idea into an existence. So it was all of that that made me bond with that person. But what he didn't know was the things that I went through. I went through such a bad health problem in my 30s that, I don't want to get into it because it's always very emotional for me to get into. But literally, thank you, sweetie. It was hard. It was literally, I had to give up my corporate America job. I had to come out of making really, really good money. And I had to learn how to manage a smaller amount of money as a single parent with 2 children. So it's like my mind is, thinking outside the box, that's survival. Okay, you cannot think, there's no box. You're taking away my job. You're taking away my ability to make a whole lot of money, to put aside money for a 401k. I've got to think differently in order just to survive. And so by the time I met him, I'm in a healthier place. And people who've really, really been sick and then gotten better know what I'm about to say. When you finally feel good, the last thing you want to do is sit down and act old, okay? When I went through back surgery after not walking for a year and some odd, when I went through breaking my leg and having it turn into a nerve condition where they were like, you're going to have a 40% disability on that, and you're never going to be able to wear that. When you can finally get up and wear some heels and look good and not be in the hospital or a doctor's office, catch me if you can. That used to be my thing. Y'all going to eat my smoke because I'm not going to be still. So I didn't come at him like, oh, well, I'm almost ready for retirement. I just got another 10 years to go, and then I can retire, and I'm going to buy a little condo. I was like,
and
shoot.
just travel all over the world and enjoy myself.
I'm going to get those
and go
low
right
cost,
back to work next year.
No, because, we know people who retire. Oh, I'm taking a nap. When you're on 16 pills a day, you don't want to hear about another nap, okay?
Mm-hmm.
There's sometimes I don't want to go to sleep. I'm like, shoot. And then I don't talk about the other thing, which is my vision. Literally, people, I have a degenerative vision condition.
Mm-hmm.
I was told in my 30s that you could go blind at any minute.
Mm.
At any minute, at any time, without warning. And so you think when I open my eyes and I can see across the room that I'm just going to sit in it? And I'm not trying to get passionate, but I'm very passionate about that. One of the reasons I became a disability advocate. Get up and enjoy your life. I don't care if you're in a wheelchair. I don't care if, you have to use a walker. I don't care what you have to do. Whatever God has given you as life, enjoy it. So when I meet a person who wants to party, what? Remember you tried to drink me and dance me off the dance floor?
Yeah, and I had a heart attack. I had to go to the bathroom and catch my breath.
Honey, I was like, let's go. Let me show you I can still come.
I say, good God Almighty, this old woman. What the hell wrong with this old woman right here?
Because you spend time not even being able to get out of one room, not being able to get out of bed.
Why you trying to compete against me? You the
I
first
didn't try
person.
to compete.
Most people try to play it off. You dancing with a woman, and you like, yeah, I got you, baby.
Honey, I
yeah,
out on the
okay. Well, I'm going to the bathroom. Listen,
I did the
yeah,
move.
but I'm just saying they go to the bathroom.
When he went to the bathroom, I was dancing with somebody else.
Yeah. And I'm like, this woman crazy.
Not crazy.
There's something wrong with this woman.
Not crazy.
And then next thing she saw me, yeah, brother. Yeah, come on. You ain't going nowhere. You want to dance me? Come on. You know.
Yes, he ended up saying, "Are you ready to go home? You ready to go home? Come on, it's only
Yeah, we can
11."
go home. Yeah, we getting up out of here. Yeah, we gonna dance our way up out of here. Yeah,
But the point of the matter is by the time I met him in my 50s, had he met me in my 30s, say that, he was older than me, I was sick. I wasn't doing anything. I wasn't even, I was trying to hold on to my children, figure out a way to reinvent myself, and make a living. And so now I'm like, shoot, I know how to live on a little bit of money. I make a little bit of money look good. I know how to make things stretch. I know how to cook from scratch because it's cheaper actually to cook from scratch than it is to keep buying this and buying that.
yeah,
I've learned so many things on how to run a home and how to still have a good time that now when he comes along, it's like, I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go. The last thing I want to do is sit down and talk about retirement.
yeah.
So again, that was God bringing two souls together, not based on an age.
Not based on age, not based on status, not based on circumstances.
Yep.
It's just two people that know and really can relate to each other. Now, we might, I call myself, I say I'm crazy and she's insane. That's what we used to say
No, when he
before
first
marriage.
met me, he said, I'm crazy, right?
Yeah, and
I said, let me see if my brand of crazy gets along with your
yours.
brand.
Yeah, because I always
And then
said
after
I'm
a while,
crazy.
he said, I might be crazy, but
You're
insane.
insane. Yeah, yeah. So it's two different. I don't know if y'all remember the posts or whatever, because y'all just started paying me attention when somebody married me. Somebody had to marry me to pay me some attention.
Because
And
I gotta translate
but
sometimes.
not only
Tell
that,
the truth, I gotta translate.
but listen,
Go ahead.
listen.
I'm sorry.
I'm saying the same thing I've been saying even when I was single. I say the same thing
I
every
still
day I've been
translate.
saying.
Uh-huh.
What do you mean translate?
Go right ahead, girl.
Okay.
I ain't saying nothing.
Well, I forgot because you're sitting there like I'm from Japan or something. You got that was a New York interruption number.
That's okay. I
But
still
anyway,
got
you translate. Sometimes you act like I'm Japanese or Mexican or
I'm
something.
not saying a word. Go ahead. I
Okay.
didn't mean to interrupt
All right.
you.
All right. But anyway, I forgot where I was going because you got to translate. So go ahead and translate. Go ahead and translate.
You gotta say it first.
I don't know what I say. Oh, you can't translate now, can you?
How can I translate?
But anyway,
Go ahead.
Anyway, we both basically are on the same page with where we want to go in life, how we are. God put us together outside of status and circumstances. He saw two people that were able to relate to each other and just understand what's going on in the world and able to make a change within the world, somebody who could make a difference in people's lives. Because she knows I don't care anything. Well, you go ahead and tell them just like about the status and circumstances.
He doesn't. And sometimes it's actually a little nerve-wracking because, I'm in there and we're still working on getting our new place. And he couldn't care less what's going on in there. He couldn't, he's just like, I have a place to lay my hat and my head, and I'm good, and you'll be there, and that's it.
Well, you need to change that. You need to change that. We've been seeing, I care a little bit about that.
Well, you know what I mean, the furnishings I'm talking about.
Oh, the furniture,
when we eventually
the house,
get there, he won't care about that.
The size of the house,
the size of the house. He's not a status-driven person like, we're going to have granite countertops and a backsplash and what happened. I mean, we do have hardwood floors, but, that's not what drives him. He doesn't, what's the word? You don't derive your sense of who you are by where you live, what you drive, your education. And so who he is really, what do I want to say? I want to say that his value is based on who he is, not what he has.
Mm-hmm.
Because what you have, as my life has taught me, when I went through my illness, you can lose it. You can lose it. I may have all the brains in the world, but in my 30s, I couldn't sit in an office. I just couldn't. I was constantly ill. And so if you base it on what you have, my possessions, even my education, my position, those things can change.
In a heartbeat.
In a heartbeat. But the nature of the character of a person, whether they're good-hearted, whether they care about other people, whether they're generous, these things don't change. They rarely change. So, we're almost like, sometimes you say, I act a lot like you.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to say earlier. We are like, we're opposite, we're different genders, but we act the same.
Mm-hmm.
And we just think the same. I met somebody who was just like me. And the love that she gives and the attention that she gives me that I gave to other people, I saw that within her giving it to me. Mm-hmm. And I felt the feelings that she had for me that I had for other people. And the feelings that I had for other people, I saw the feelings that she had for me. And I look back at the people who I put my all into, who didn't put as much into me or put as much into me, but that was just timing. Like, if that makes any sense, that was just at that time. So it was like you're putting the same interest into me that this day that you'll put into somebody tomorrow, but it'll be somebody else's tomorrow.
Yeah.
But me, I'm so consistent, and I'm an everyday type person. If I love you every day. It's not temporary.
It's not temporary.
Well, I saw that within her towards me. And, I've never really felt what she gave me, the love and support that she gave me on a consistent base. Anybody can buy you stuff. Anybody can buy you a shirt or buy you jeans, or anybody can give you something and just, I gave it to you and walk away. That's all temporary. But when you give them that everyday love, that everyday support, that everyday guidance, I tell y'all time and time again, if she treated me like I was a husband when she dated me, then imagine how she would treat me when I become a husband. So, all of those things that, she has been there when my daddy died, wouldn't even leave my sight, period. When my daddy, through my daddy's sickness, through everything that I went through with my daddy, she never left my sight. Never. And always was there. So, and anybody that knows me and knows daddy, I wasn't used to daddy being that sick. Yeah. And, I had to find different ways in order to cope with daddy being that sick. But she didn't get to know the healthy daddy. The daddy, running around, running his mouth. What you see in me, you see my daddy. But just arrogant daddy, she didn't see all of daddy, period. She saw the sick daddy that couldn't talk, period. The most words that she heard, you remember when you heard a sentence come out of daddy's mouth?
We were in the car.
When we were in the car and I was fussing. And
I can't remember what he did.
Daddy, like, if you talk to daddy during his sick times, only thing he could say is yes and no. And that was for a whole year time of his 6 strokes. Only thing he could say is yes and no. And probably get one word out of him, but he never got a sentence. And one day me and her was riding daddy to the store, and daddy was trying to get some cigarettes. And I fussed his butt out. I went off on him, and he said, "Boy, you think you know
everything." And it was, And
it was clear. She never heard daddy say
every single word.
Never heard daddy say anything outside of hey, yes, and no.
Yeah.
And she heard that full sentence coming from daddy. I thought I was fussing. So what I'm saying is, like with her being there through, with me and with the whole family just being there supporting me, through my daddy and just being there, period. Just that period. Even if daddy wasn't sick and he was healthy, she would be there on a consistent basis. It wasn't that she felt sorry for me, it was just the type of person that she is. You don't get that these days. You don't get those type of characters these days. You don't get that. So why not?
Why not? If it's
Why
if
not?
you get that character trait, why would you then say, "Oh, but he's so much older, or he's so much younger"? Why would that number even become important? And like I said, because I was able to see that with my mom and dad, they not only were 22 years apart, they grew up in two different countries. My mom was a boarding school preacher's kid. My dad, worked his way, bumming out of Pennsylvania all the way into New York, taking care of himself. So they had very different lifestyles, but they did have Christ in common. They had God in common. And then the rest of it was learning each other and caring for each other. And that care lasted for 35 years. And no one ever mentioned, "Oh, you guys are 22 years apart." So we're saying all this because age shouldn't be the thing. Don't make circumstances blind you to a good person. Don't let, the things the world wants you to pay attention to blind you to a good person. We've talked about this before, the way my mom used to talk about my dad, because not only were they 22 years apart, but we're talking about a time and an era where black men did not have as many opportunities.
You know what? I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna go back with you because you talk about your parents. Let me talk about mine.
Okay.
My parents met. My daddy was in the 11th grade. Mama was in the 12th, the end of her senior year. And, Mama went off to college, and she could have left Daddy high and dry. I'm in college, you're in high school.
Right.
I'm out here having fun. But Mama, they both finished, but Mama used to come back and see Daddy from college when he was in high school, visit, whatever. And
so wait a minute, your mama was older than your daddy?
Yeah, Mama, just a year, just a few months or whatever. But she would always support Daddy through everything, through law school, through all of the things that he went through. Mama was there, and she could have left because she was a year older. So I think basically, and there's a lot of people out there, a lot of women who are out there that doesn't mind dating a young man, but don't. What I think personally, I think that people go off of other people's opinions, and people go off of. That's why, like, what would my friends think of me, or what would my family think of me, if I was to date this young guy? That's 10 years.
Yeah, 10 years.
10 or 20 years younger than me. But the reality is, half of them would do the same thing if somebody was to approach them.
So now can I talk about my mom and dad?
Yeah.
Because, she was this very well-educated person, very considered extremely advanced for the time that she went to boarding school. She went to boarding school 3 years earlier than most kids in the Caribbean. So very intelligent woman. Came to America, got into finance, just built and made things. And there were 4 people at her wedding. I don't know if I ever told you that.
Mm-mm.
It was my mom and dad and the aunt and uncle she was staying with. My sister's one of 10. Don't tell me nobody else could have showed up at that doggone wedding. But it was considered that my mother, married beneath her. Ever heard that line? She married beneath her. He was not college educated. He was he cleaned rooms. That's what black men got jobs to do in the 50s. He was a porter.
Ooh,
and so there was nobody. I used to look at the pictures like, how you one of 10 kids and there ain't no cousins and nobody. 4 people at that wedding. And she told me years later that she'd say, you know, my friends married the lawyer, my friends married the doctor, my friends married the CPA. She said, and every last one of them are divorced right now. But your father is still here.
So
That used to have an impression upon me. Because she said, I was expected to do that. And I chose your dad. And I wonder sometimes if she had to go through the ribbing, you know. Oh, you married that little short American. He ain't got nothing, ain't do nothing. Like I said, when they passed away, it took 6 lawyers to deal with the estate of what they left. But the point was that they worked together, you know. And so my mother probably had to deal with, oh, you know, maybe she didn't get invited to certain places because her husband wasn't this, didn't play golf, and didn't do this, and didn't do that. But they built a house and a family and children that are more powerful than these people from broken homes that her friends went through the bitter divorces that they went through, the custody and the miserable battles over houses and land that they went through. They didn't have any of that. So what is it that you want to leave as a legacy? Let's even say that. What do you want to leave as a legacy?
Do you want to leave a legacy of I'm worried about what other people may say about me?
Thank you.
Or think about me? Or do you want to leave a legacy of basically I'm with somebody who loves me?
Let me tell you something.
Till death do us part.
My brother's going on 30 years. He routinely talks about the picture of my father as a man in the home, the picture of my mother. They both were different, but they brought what they had and they worked together. So my dad would tell her, I'm not great at finances. My mother was a financial whiz. I think she was making money after she passed away. We would get things in the mail like, you just accrued so much interest. We're like, wait a minute, did you even know about this account? When did she open it? My mother was a financial whiz. So it wasn't for my father to say, well, I'm the man, and therefore I got it. He's like, happiness is a rich wife. Shoot, because that means I'm rich. They would say things like that to prove that it isn't based on this world structure. It's based on God and 2 people loving each other. Like you said, what? Till death do they part.
Till death do they part. Through rich or through worse. What
through
is it?
Sickness, through health. Yes.
Through sickness and health.
Rich and
as you see, I got a sick cougar. Mm-hmm.
I'm doing pretty good.
Yeah, she's very
I just don't do well with stress.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know. But, you know, you look at things like that till, you know, and I've always thought like that. Because I ain't had the most religious parents or the most spiritual parents in the world. But they stuck together 42 years. You know,
right.
And if you think about looking back, like the fights, the arguments, and everything that they've been through, the unemployment that they went through years and years of times, you know, the debate, everything that they went through, they still stuck together. They still stuck together, period. And, you know, you look back at, you know, how they were, and you look back at some of the way these married couples, they go through certain stuff, one argument, like, you know, and they getting a divorce over credit, and what we talked about yesterday, over finances and you know, and children, and I was a hellraiser. I was basically a hellraiser, and they never like separated or anything over me.
Yeah.
You know, so I can only imagine like what this younger generation, what this next generation is going through, divorcing and marrying for the wrong reasons. And half of it is because if they marry for the wrong reasons, is some type of hidden motive, some type of hidden agenda that has something to do with some type of finances, instead of just being with somebody who loves you. You're shacking, and you know, I'm not telling you you're going to hell like the white dudes on my timeline, but I'm just saying you shacking, and you know, you're with this person, but you're making all types of excuses, not to get married. You're dealing with all of these obstacles and all of these things that are dividing you. So when I see a woman like this who thinks on the same or understands me, unlike like I was told 5:30 this morning, ain't nobody understand me through a prayer call. But anyway, that's another subject. But you know, who really understands me, you know, and really just takes the time in order to, when half of you people try to call and ask her what I done said or what I done did, she's able to let you know outside of me, you know, what I was trying to address. You can't go wrong with a woman like that. You can never go with a woman like this. You can never go wrong.
You better go ahead and end it. You know, we done belabored our point, I guess. But yeah, go ahead. Anyway.
No, I'm not ending it because I'm ready to talk some trash.
Now what are we going to talk about?
No, we're going to talk about, you know, titles don't make you idols. You know, and your circumstances only gives you so many chances.
Oh, you trying to rhyme up out of here?
Your status don't make you the baddest. You know, stop feeding off of society. Stop feeding off of the world. Stop feeding off of what the enemy, spiritual Christians, you know, church people, because you know church folks and Christians are two different things. Church people and just because you're in and out of the door of the church, you minister this, you minister that, you pastor this, you or apostle this, or, you know, with all of these names, that don't necessarily mean you're Christian. You know, so basically what you have to realize is that watch the spirits you're around. Watch who's basically influencing you. And anybody can read the Bible. Anybody can quote scriptures and Google out of the Bible, but that don't necessarily mean they have your spirit, your best interest. If I would have listened to half of you people, I wouldn't have married this woman. And I'm sure if she would have listened to some of those women that was calling her, she doggone sure wouldn't have married me. She wouldn't have married me. You know, so, because they thought just like the women that I was dating. And that's what I was saying. Thank God I didn't meet them before Judy, because it would have been a hell-raising debate. You know, but we are attracted to all of these things within the world that's basically stopping our calling and stopping us from being blessed. You listening to other people before you listen to God. And it ain't necessarily got to be the Word of God. It ain't necessarily always got to be the Bible of what the Bible says. You know what somebody told me, and I always wanted to put this on Facebook Live. The pastor at Freedom House, when Devion invited me to Freedom House one day, and I went to Freedom House with her. I joined her at Freedom House. And the pastor said, I don't know his name, but that pastor said, there were how many books in the Bible? 66.
66.
66. You're the 67th book in the Bible. So what Paul did was good. What David did was good. What all of these people did was good. But what you do matters.
Amen.
How you are matters. So however you live your life, and it's according to God's will and what God wants out of you, that's all that matters.
That's all that matters.
That's all that matters. He don't care whether you got a degree. He don't care whether you got a Benz, Mercedes Benz. He don't care whether you Apostle uh, 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 Samantha. He don't care. Evangelist this. He don't care whether you got the biggest house on the hill. He don't care.
He doesn't care. No,
He don't care. What he cares about is how you delivering his message to his people.
That's right.
How you living your life applying to that. He don't care. Stop living for other people and live for God. And that's why most of y'all are holding yourself back, especially, and I'm going to tell you, if women say I get on them, you're doggone right, because I see it. I see it, and I saw it, and I was disturbed by it. I was dealing with it. I was dealing with it. You know why most of y'all didn't date me before, Judy? Because you thought I was crazy, didn't you? And if one woman would have said, "Oh, you dating that doggone Brandon? He on Facebook and all of that," you missed out on your blessings. You were foolish. So that's why I say the things that I say. Now the others, I ain't met you yet. He ain't never met me. He can't say that about me. Well, there was a reason. Thank God I didn't meet you. But anyway, stop on a serious note. Stop listening to people and listen to God, and you will receive your blessing. It don't matter what the age is. It don't matter the circumstances. It don't matter the status. And yes, I'm gonna say it until I die. So if you're wishing for me to die, you better do it fast, because if it's 30 years from now, I'll still be saying the same thing. No. But get somebody who loves you and stick with that person. With the boys like to brag, and yes, I'm saying it, and it ain't necessarily get on my page, or I think I'm better than you, or, I'm judging, but I just go off of what I see. The boys like to get up together and talk about how they sleeping with all of these women and stuff like that, which ain't doing you no good. You know how many women I slept with and I'm embarrassed by it? Some of them women, I'm embarrassed by who I slept with. So why would I sit there and talk to you about something that I'm embarrassed about doing? Wow. And that don't make me a man. That don't make me a man to talk to another man about basically how many women I slept with. That don't make me no man. What makes me a man is how God sees me as a man.
Amen. You need to say that one again.
How God sees me as a man makes me a man. Period. You can't make me no man. Never. So basically, what she saw in me is what God saw in me. She saw more in me than I saw within myself. And I'm sure I saw more in her than what she saw within herself. Mm-hmm. And that's what brought us together. It wasn't about the 11 years apart, 12 years apart. I dated women older. Older. Oh. Some of them on Facebook. My Facebook friends, I dated women older. So that didn't make a difference. Those who know me know that made no difference at all. I date your grandma if she on my page. I date your great-grandma in front of your face and take her to your house and eat dinner with her right in front of your face if we were on the same page before I met Judy. So it ain't about that. It ain't about the age. But we're going to go ahead and end this because you got me in a zone.
You sure
and Judy got me upset, so, she knew something was going to touch me.
Touch you, but you dropped some nuggets, you dropped some truths, and you're helping men realize that the right woman for you is going to see you for you, not for what you bring to the table. Because I think the men feel it more.
I'm making this money, I'm making this bread, I'm stacking this paper.
They feel that their worth is wrapped up in being this hustling, grinding mogul. And I'm like, but you got to come home And if she loves you, she really doesn't care. Yes, creature comforts are great, but be mindful. I had to tell a brother one time, stop talking about how much you make, because all you're going to attract is a gold digger. I don't care how sweetly she puts it. Her mind is going, cha-ching, I will have this, I will have that. The woman who loves you, she may say, okay, we are going to live well, but she's not going to be wrapped up in what you make. Fellas, seriously, look for the character, not for, well, I can, don't even approach a woman talking about, baby, I'll make sure your nails are done. I'll make sure your hair on. Make sure. Stop that. Just stop it. Because then you upset that she got you and 4 other dudes making sure her nails are straight and her hair is straight. Okay? Stop attracting what is hurting you. Attract what is going to build you. You guys really want to hustle and grind? Get you a woman who loves you, who will hustle and grind with you. And she may bring she may bring things to you that you can't get by paying somebody for.
And she will tell you, she will remind you whether you hustling and grinding for the wrong reasons.
Get somebody who's going to tell you the truth. Not smiling and buddy, hey, yeah, baby, oh, yeah, you go ahead. You go ahead out there and work. I met a dude, he had been married twice, and he worked 60 hours a week. Oh, I got this paper, I bought this land. And both times, those women were in the arms of somebody else. Why? Because while he was grinding, and they were driving the Benzes and the Lexus and everything else, but somebody else was in the passenger seat.
But you know the sad part? These dudes know that. That's the sad part. You're not telling them nothing that they don't know.
They don't already know.
But they feel that it's an advantage, like money has become...
It's a status thing.
Yeah, money has came so driven. And my daddy couldn't stand money. And I think that's where I got that from. And my daddy had a degree. My daddy had a lawyer's degree at North Carolina Central, and the way he looked at, and I think that's partly of what depressed him, being around certain people that thought that way, like money changed their whole lives. Daddy used to tell me as a child, like he'd go in his suits and everybody knew him, like everybody, your daddy, your daddy, your daddy, and that's because he was covered up in these suits, he was driving these cars, and stuff like that. Daddy was fine. My daddy was sexy, and they was basically, my daddy was sexy. And they would look at him, a certain type of way because he had suits. But when he was in his regular clothes, nobody paid him any attention. And I think basically as I got older and I started looking at different people and I started communicating with people and being around people on an everyday basis, and I see the whole conversation, and it's especially around men. Men talk about certain men, not all men, but the men that, how many women they had sex with or who they sleeping with in sports, who doing this in basketball, how much money they making off basketball and these contracts and, just status and circumstances. And so, all of that basically had me to, and I noticed that in college when I was in my 20s, like all of that had me to basically change the whole direction because I didn't want to be that guy to have limited conversation. I didn't want to be that guy who has to watch reality TV just to build a conversation with a woman to get in her pants. I wanted to be that guy to have you to think, to inspire you. Ain't a person that I don't go by every day, that I don't come by even if I don't know you, even if it's 30 minutes, that I don't inspire, and they will tell you that. Anybody that ever come across me, I inspire, whether you receive it or not, because I already know what you're dealing with outside of me.
Outside in the world, yeah.
In the world, I know what you're dealing with. So I'm going to just end it right there as far as, stop looking at status and circumstances and look at the person.
Yeah,
and don't, and that's for the ones who do. and stop looking at what your friends or family members say. That's probably why my family don't fool with me, because I don't deal with their ignorance. I don't deal with ignorance. Like, I would tell you in a heartbeat in so many words, I'll put you on Facebook blast. That's what I'll start to call it. I'll put you on blast on Facebook about what somebody said that was very ignorant to me. I will put you on blast. So, that's basically to help somebody who may be dealing with somebody that was with them said that was ignorant. Somebody that said something ignorant around them. And that's not basically what they think. That's because everybody else is thinking the same way.
Same thing. It's okay to step outside the box, especially if you find somebody that's going to make you happy for the rest of your life. I think about my mother and father standing in that church with nobody else in that church. And I wonder, did that bother them throughout the years? But in the end, they were so in love with each other. They so loved and supported who the other person was. They didn't have to go through changes. And, my dad used to still wear his little overalls, and my mother had 50 suits, but he didn't call her Hasididi, and she didn't call him your country bumpkin. They didn't do that. They loved each other. They loved each other, and that's what you want to find.
Yeah, you want to find somebody who loves you and treats you as a wife or a husband and
Amen.
Wants to be with you for the rest of your life. I don't care if you met 2 hours. I don't care if you met within a day. Everybody ain't made for that counseling therapist. And every therapist ain't necessarily a therapist, and every counselor ain't made to ain't called to counsel. There's some people that go to school just to be going to school to make more money. They go to school for the money purposes, and it's not for your best interest. Because half of them, you want to be around somebody who's been through what you're going through. And half of them know nothing about what you're going through outside of research. And I'm going to end it at that.
Yeah, because
so if you love somebody, no, that's all about love.
It is. It's about love.
Yeah, that's all about love. So regardless if that person is older than you, younger than you, a therapist can't help you through certain situations. That's just the reality of it. Mm-hmm. That's reality. So if I was to sit there and talk to a therapist, do you know how many times they probably doubt the relationship of us? Through what they learned, not through what they experienced, but through what they learned in college, through what they read.
Anytime somebody quotes statistics at me, well, statistically, the younger man, older woman has a high rate of. I'm like, look, find somebody who loves you and break every doggone statistic out there. Again, I'm the product of people who broke statistics, who decided that they didn't care what society was going to say. It wasn't about that she had the degree and he didn't, and she had the high corporate job and he was still working in the transit. All of that is what I hear people today, and we were supposed to be in this, but you done got me riled up. All of this is what I hear people today talk about, and then I ask them, well, do you love him? Does he love you? Because in the end, God is love, and love is the only thing that's going to survive. All that other stuff is going to pass away. But the love, my parents have gone literally 20 years, and we're still telling the story like the people are still alive because it was that powerful. So please, 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 don't allow statistics and all the education in the world draw you away from somebody who really loves you. I mean, yes, you want to make sure they love you, but when they say they do and they prove it, they're there 4 seasons, they don't change, they're consistent. Start to look at, hey, can we make this work for the rest of our lives? Mm-hmm. Because that's what's really, in the end, you are not going to be hugging no granite countertops and no car at the end of your life. You are going to want someone there who loves you.
And a degree, a car, and all of that foolishness ain't going to get you to heaven.
Amen.
But it possibly can get you to heaven the way you treat your husband and wife. or the way you lead your girlfriend, boyfriend, or your shacker into a husband and wife. Because God honors marriage. And I'm going to end it like this.
What? Oh, my goodness. No, we're not even doing that. You know how I am. Stop it. Say our line. Say our line.
Make them mad.
Oh,
Make 'em
gosh,
mad.
my goodness. I'm going to be mad in a minute. What
We
is it?
love you, but God
loves
loves you
more. Bye-bye.